Hey, nice to see you back here again on my channel. Thanks for being here. So we are in a week of another eclipse energy coming in. So last time I jumped on here, we were headed into the solar eclipse that was going on in Libra, and now we are heading into a lunar eclipse. It's a partial eclipse, but it still has a strong transformative energy. The zodiac signs we're looking at now are the Taurus moon and the Scorpio sun. So I love this axis. This is actually my kiddos too. I have one Scorpio and one Taurus, and it's the energy that leads us into, in the northern hemisphere, the winter months, right? We're going toward the winter solstice, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, the summer solstice. But this is kind of a gateway, these eclipses kind of filtering out and relaunching, what it is that the life force that you are going to be working with in this next season. So they kind of I think of them like Moldavite energy. If you're familiar with that crystal, the eclipse energy and Moldavite, they're really like speeding you through this wormhole, right, of change. Scorpio speaks to change. It's the ruler of the house of change, of transformation, in the 8th house, and big changes, deep changes. Taurus is about our physical reality, right? And also what we value. It's our financial situation, yes. It's our physicality. It's how we show up in our body. So these two things, like some say that the solar eclipse is like a beginning and the lunar eclipse is like an ending, but I've kind of felt that in the reverse, that a lot of energy was ending with the last eclipse and now a new energy is beginning. So you can kind of look at, sometimes we have to do one before the other, how that's showing up for you. But I did feel like with the last eclipse and that ring of fire, this transition of you really have to birth this thing and you're going to have to shed this stuff and let's go for it. And now we're in a window running into this lunar eclipse, and lunar cycles, we are in a full moon rather than a new moon, so we're getting into a full moon energy, and there is definitely something big and deep that's like wanting to manifest in your life, big and deep. And you can ask yourself, like, what is that? Because I truly believe with the Chironian influence of the wounded healer energy that brings, that this is a time for the deepest wound, the thing that's been the deepest dream, manifest dream, to like start making its way into our lives. And like even like a big full moon light shining on it that eclipses anything you've seen before. Whew, that's a big statement to say, isn't it? I'm just thinking of that in terms of my own life, and that kind of, it like conjures some sort of like goosebumps and like a sense of anticipation. But we are wary as humans to anticipate something so grand, right? So we kind of like pull back from that energy, or we give it permission to be smaller, right? But the nice thing about Scorpio and this season of the sun is actually like got us down to the ground, if you will, like in our deepest place, like our biggest fear, the thing that feels taboo even to us, the no, if you will, but that's also like a deep dream or longing or wish, or an ancestral like manifestation, something we are inheriting from the ancestors that's coming into, reality. So if you look at the opposing forces on the astrology chart, they're like portals to each other. So even though they oppose, what goes in one side comes out the other, like Taurus and Scorpio, they are like the perfect balancing force. So where scorpionic energy may be in the unseen, deep, mysterious underworld depths, Taurus is in the very much seen, very practical, very structured, has a plan, all of that. So when these two things interact, you have a powerful manifesting portal. So I wanted to jump on here because it is a powerful manifesting portal. There's a few tools that I've been made familiar with and have utilized over the years that have really like moved energy hugely for me. And one of them is the Lemurian Key Vesta, brought to this reality again through one of my teachers, Almeen, great mystic and seer. So I was trained in the art of reading the Key Vesta, which is a Lemurian manifestation device, and it is a very nicely in-depth alchemical process that you go through with angelic sigils and specific mandalas, and you're given like a concept that is being alchemized. And so it very like conceptually like helps us to break through and see what and align with what this deep place is that we are manifesting. So if anyone is interested in checking out Key Vesta reading, or I also do the oracle card readings that include the runes, the tarot, the I Ching, and the oracle cards all together. And either the Key Vesta or the oracle read are always by donation. I can do them on Zoom, I can do them on text app, where you're just on, if you have an iPhone, or if you're on a WhatsApp or Signal or anything like that, I can send pictures and audio, or a Zoom, and you know the reading is for you. And during this very powerful manifestation portal, and manifestation, I want to use that word slightly different than maybe you hear in the law of attraction, because there's this idea of like, I want to manifest a red Ferrari, or I want to manifest $1 million, or I'm going to manifest like the person of my dreams. Like this it kind of makes my stomach hurt to say it. This very, it's actually more like a manipulative, and even in the magical arts, it would be considered more a black magic art to like choose and like make the energy go towards something that you're like deciding. But it's a very different thing to manifest yourself into the reality that's in alignment with what feeling you're seeking and what consciousness you're seeking. And in that place, sure, all these amazing things will come around you that will fit into that. But we don't want to skip a step. We want to do the inner work. That's what white magic is like utilizing the self as the tool for transformation, because as within, so without. And so as we make this space conducive to a frequency, and this is what doing any reading is helping to do, is gain more clarity around the inner state so we can like make proper mental adjustments, right? So if there's interest, I'm offering this service this week through the eclipse time, maybe even a couple days after. We'll see. It feels like the energy will continue into Monday or something. So let's say for roughly about a week right now. So if you would like to do that, just send me an email, stasiabliss@gmail.com, or you can go on my Facebook and send me a messenger, friend request, and a message. Those are the two best ways. So stasiabliss@gmail. You could go to my website, blissinthehouse.com, and go to like the services. If you click any of the services, you should end up in my Square store. But simple and easy is just email me and we can set it up, and we can set it up in a timely manner. I'm back refreshed from being off the grid this last weekend and soaking in like the yummy wireless place. Whew, and I'm just going to transmit some of that back to you, that like don't underestimate the power of nature, like unplugged. There's so few places it seems we can get to very quickly anymore, though actually there are really close places to you that you can get out and get off the phone wires and get off the grid and just like let nature do its thing. And sometimes I forget, I think, oh, I'm gonna go sleep so good out in nature, and it's not necessarily like that, right? You have like these sleepless nights, and or you get cold, or it's too hard in the tent. I mean, if you really go and camp, but it's a defragging. It's like a recalibration, and all that hard, crunchy stuff that we feel is actually from the life that we've been living, from the modern world and the stresses and the demands upon our nervous system. And so when we get out to nature, our nervous system is able to defrag, and that can come out kind of rough. But I didn't actually sleep well for 2 nights straight out of the 3 nights that I slept out. The first 2 nights were very like uncomfortable, and I maybe only slept a few minutes, honestly, like I can remember the whole night. But the crazy thing is I came out of each day like clearer, and I didn't have fatigue or aches or tiredness or falling asleep. Like I was like, what is this magic? But I know, because I've lived this way before in my life, and that's that the cycles of nature, they play with our bodies differently, and we are renewed just by the sounds and the smells and the sun on our face. It's naturally rejuvenative if we are like living in harmony and not seeking to like fight against it. So I feel like this is the secret end part of the video, so if you're still here, then bless you, and this transmission is for you, you know, that when you separate out, when we separate out and go back to source, go back to where things are naturally growing wild, and immerse ourselves in that place, like the crickets are the sound therapy. You know, the sound and the sight of the river, the no sound, the canyon wall thundering loudly with no one around. It's funny, like there's this sense of like trepidation, fear a little bit when going into these places, and it is what keeps some people away. But because we've come to rely on so many comforts, right? And we've come to rely on so much that is just barely holding us together, actually. Because our system needs the fear a little bit. We need to feel like the awe and the grandeur to trigger certain things in our DNA and our nervous system, and to recalibrate us and connect us to our God self. And so that little bit of fear is actually the pressing up of what we truly know is powerful. And to like gently and humbly lean into that, like not going like overboard. You know, I used to rock climb when I was in college, but it's been a lot of years. I'm like 30. And if I were to like arrogantly go onto these cliff walls that we were just by, like the other rock climbers I saw, and just like throw my rope up there and just think I could start going up the side of the mountain because I used to do it before, would probably get me into some painful trouble, just because I'm not refreshed and I'm not like humbled to the task, right? So of course, to always approach nature with humility, it's always like a vision quest. It's always her taking you in and seeing where you are and what needs to be worked through. And nature makes me think of India all the time, because that's what India does to you constantly, even with the civilization. The civilization, at least when I visited, was more married with nature. So like the process of being in India is therapeutic and is moving stuff out of the psyche and making you face your discomforts, and then showing you great beauty in this like contrasting, you know, things are terrible and wow, things are amazing. Like this does something to our kundalini. It like makes our life force energy like balance itself out. You know, we're constantly in comfort, and then like the little stresses like cause us to be like ding 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 ding, or like red alert, burp, 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 burp. Like we're trying to maintain this, but we're like being forced into this. It's not like this natural ebb and flow. And so like of course our nervous system is going to kind of shocked out when we're trying to deal with it with, you know, substances and so forth, instead of just going back and letting nature recalibrate. So that's my recommendation, is letting nature recalibrate in any way you can today and this week, because there is this manifestation and you do want to be clear on what that is. So getting some nature in. And remember, the manifestation isn't like the thing I want to get. It's the state that I know is mine that I'm not currently accessing. So you're manifesting yourself, you're bringing yourself through the gateway, through the other side of the wormhole, and you're with a specific dial in. So I'm kind of looking at the Kivesta reads and the Oracle reads this week as allowing them to be a place where you can receive what your being is trying to tell you, because sometimes it's hard for us to hear it. And as soon as we do hear it, we're like, that's it. So a place for that to happen. I'm facilitating and holding that space for you if you want it, again by donation always. And thank you so much for tuning in here again with me, sharing like some beautiful sunshine with you, and I'm holding with you that we're all together in the sacred nature space, in the beautiful vibration that has always been offered to us by Gaia and the planet. So utilizing that to help make this week smooth and lovely. So again, if you would like to get a reading this week in Zoom or on your call, on your phone text, please just send me an email, stasiabliss@gmail.com, and I will be happy to respond and set it up. Just give me a couple of your best times this week, and I'll see what my calendar says, and we can set it up. And I hope you have a beautiful day. blissinthehouse.com. Thanks for coming back. And if you like this video or you think it would help somebody, share it, like it, and thank you.